The end of season 7 had been very strange because we had to write and shoot the finale not knowing if it was the end of the TV series.
David's part in the show and in the future of the show were sort of uncertain as we wrapped. Would he come back completely or would he come back part-time?
We had to create a new character, which was the John Doggett character.
Tough guy, street guy.
Blue-collar, smart, tough.
By the books, team player, unlike Mulder, who was always the outsider who reveled in his place in the basement in the FBI.
Just because I'm assigned to the X-Files, you want me to think like Scully and Mulder would. You got the wrong guy. I need facts, not wild ideas. He's a skeptic. He's a knee-jerk skeptic. He doesn't really believe in any of the things that the X-Files investigate. It's why I can't stand here and listen to all this mumbo-jumbo about spaceships.
When Robert walked in the door, I think we all just said, this is him. This is John Doggett.
The fans were going to have a reaction to anyone that we brought in. And so we didn't want someone who would be considered to be a love interest.
We knew that a huge section of the fan base wouldn't want to like him, wouldn't want him on the show, would be resentful that we were going forward without Mulder at all. And our strategy to deal with that was to acknowledge all of those things.
You might have just introduced yourself.
Well, I was getting around to it.
Nice to meet you, Agent Doggett.
Having water thrown in my face is no problem because I think that's what every X-File fan wanted to have happen. So Chris and Frank just went ahead and did it for him.
And say, we don't want you, we want Mulder, go away. And the fact that he just lets all that roll past him. And he goes, I understand, but here I am, I'm here to do a job. And then slowly gets pulled into the X-Files and comes to care about Scully and being a character of integrity, cares about the truth.
He's slowly starting to be a little bit more willing to accept some of the things that they've experienced, looking at things in a different way than he has before. This has been insightful.
Let's continue the show.
She's quite different than Mulder or Scully or John Doggett.
She would believe anything. You know, she was open, and she was a person with a big heart.
Her name's Monica Reyes. I worked a case with her once. She's FBI? Yeah.
I think that Reyes is very Mulder-esque in her optimism and her faith and in her enjoyment of entertaining the possibility.
He was the Mulder to Doggett's Scully.
She was not like a character we've had before. She's a little neurotic, a little scattered, a little quirky. She's just lighter than Mulder and Scully.
My very first day on the X-Files, it's quite memorable, I should say, because it actually wasn't in the daytime.
A lot of people wanted that part, but Annabeth just has this very winning quality. She has a fantastic smile and laugh, and she's absolutely disarming.
When my agent called and said they're looking for a new female agent on the X-Files, it was, not a question in my mind to jump at the chance and try to fight for the role.
First shot, 4 o'clock in the morning. Unless you love it. Welcome to X-Files.
I didn't know anyone. I was a bit nervous. And then I had this stunt of running down a very steep hill and,
Let's see if we can move on to another generation. And so we knew, really from the beginning of Season 8, that we were going to introduce the Monica Reyes character. She wasn't named at that point, but we knew another female character was going to be introduced who would be a believer, as Mulder had been a believer.
You believe in extraterrestrials? Let's just say I don't not believe.
As Robert Patrick was unlike Mulder, we needed someone who was unlike Scully. And we imagined this character who was kind of, in a weird way, dippy.
Don't say, "Not there! I'm a federal agent!" It was quite exciting.
A friend had given me this Paul Winter album when I was a kid, and it had whale sounds on it incorporated into the music. And I always thought it was always sort of an interesting thing, and it was probably kooky. But I just thought it was kind of much like her character to sort of appreciate that.
The show could go on. We'd have 2 viable, interesting new characters, and we'd be protecting the Scully-Mulder partnership. We wouldn't be destroying that.
We had to change the titles because we had a new actor coming in.
We had never changed the opening titles before Season 8, and it was superstition as much as anything else.
It was kind of sacrilege to touch the titles, even though they felt a little dated.
We then thought, here's an opportunity to customize them for where we are in the series.
It was a chance to sort of reinvigorate the show at a time when the show was changing. It brought, of course, torrents of protests that we had changed the unchangeable.
We added some new images at the end involving Scully's pregnancy and suggesting in an abstract way Mulder's absence. You know, the shot of David Duchovny falling away from camera. Within was really a sort of a turning point episode for us. It was the first episode where we knew we were going to go without Mulder.
You're not going to find Mulder this way. You know that, and I know that.
I told you last night I will find him. I'm going to do that. Okay?
Mark Snow came up with what I thought was one of the most brilliant things that he did.
We want to do something that becomes Scully's theme, something that would sort of take Gillian through this journey of having to consider the loss of Mulder.
Scully's alienation and loneliness and fear. And I thought the idea of using a solo female voice, where there was certainly no lyrics, but just sort of incantations. Chris heard it. There was one minor change he had. She was saying the phrase, "We are near, we are near." And he said, just make that so you don't hear the words. Make it so it's almost like some oscillating sound.
They are looking to find the whereabouts of good, hard proof that in this case exists in a person, in a boy named Gibson Praise.
The whole sequence with Gibson Praise out in the desert happened to take place during an incredible heat wave.
It was like 130, 125, 130. It was hot. And even at night, which we couldn't wait for, you know, as soon as the sun set, it's still, I mean, I think the lowest I ever got was like 100 degrees.
And we filmed in the Anza Borrego State Park, which is a magnificent part of California. It's little known really to most of the general public, and it's got magnificent badlands and a place we shot called Split Mountain.
Hey, Jim Mulder, stay there!
And there's a magnificent canyon, as it suggests, a split mountain which winds snake-like through the mountains there. And it's literally maybe 50 feet across and then several hundred feet high. It's just gorgeous.
When we showed the two-part